very welcome to this joyous Monday on the Man United agenda. There was a small wee result up there in Scouserland where we deprived them of 3 points. And I don't think anybody, not even Solo, was being negative in the group for the last 24 hours, which is absolutely fantastic. But I want to welcome Stephanie Griffith, Patrick Pillow, and Colum, who are the first to come across our comment door. We normally do a thing called the good, the bad, and the ugly. But we've been talking for the last, 8-9 hours. We're finding it very hard to pick a bad and an ugly when we're after beating the Scousers in their backyard. So we're going to do a slightly different take. Andrew Williams, here to pee in your parade. We're still very ropey. Don't get me wrong. We absolutely are very much aware of our realities, but we're going to enjoy this 20-30 minutes for as long as we can.
or week. Enjoy the week.
We're not playing in the week, so we can't lose in the week. So yeah, we're going to bask in this for 7 days, boys. 6 days, however long we've got now.
Absolutely. But I suppose if there's anything that you could classify as ugly, the only shame is that we weren't there to bask in the tears of Anfield, looking across at them, walking out at 80 minutes. But I suppose we've been hearing a lot of whispers. We've seen Liverpool fans who were telling us that we were going to get battered 4 or 5 or 6-0, calling their team shit now. Some of them are calling for Slot's head. Some of them think Mo Salah should be dropped. The head loss is absolutely biblical. But the most interesting thing of all comes from Mr. Arne Slot. And he said after the match, we've seen Sesko play the last 3, 4, 5 or 6 times. But they go to Liverpool, they change the lineup. That's not the first thing we faced that's done this. So Martin O'Neill on TalkSport today absolutely obliterated Arne Slot. Now, this is only a portion of what he said. But what I'm disappointed with, well, more than a bit, is there's some of the comments from Slot, who has proved himself as an excellent manager, coming out and saying it's very difficult to play against a low block and teams that play long balls. It reminds me at times of Arsene Wenger way back when I was against them. Every time a team got a result against Arsenal, it was always because they played a very defensively or they played a very long ball. And he even went to the point of going that maybe Ruben should have knocked on Arne Slot's door and said, come here, look, this is our lineup. Please, sir, do you approve of this lineup? You know, if you want us to play in a particular fashion, by all means, let us accommodate you. Thoughts, gentlemen?
He's a twat.
I like the fact that they're bitter. I like the fact that they're going into meltdown. I like the fact that Arne Slot has now told everybody in the Premier League how to play against him. I'm glad that Amorim decided to alter the tactics that he used. I'll be honest, right now, I don't care how we win. I haven't gone back to watch the game. I haven't seen, you watch it once. That's enough for me. We won the game. I don't have to be studying it for Opta. I don't have to be studying it for this. Maybe I have no idea how much shots they had. I had no idea I don't know how much possession they had. I don't care. It's about time that somebody else is now on the back pages of the newspapers for losing. I mean, the biggest meltdown is that we're the shittest Man United team in how much years. Fine. If that's what we are, that's what we are. We've accepted it as fans. So well, a lot of us have. We're just a normal team. We're not the championship team of the Fergie era when we used to go out and just expect to win. Right now, I'm just praying that we go on some sort of performance run, get the results and do what Liverpool did, stink out the place and get 5 in a row, get five wins in a row. Right now we need the points. Hopefully this is the springboard for a positive start to the season. I looked at the table and it's nice to be able to look up, and not look down. I'm looking at the table, and all I'm thinking is, if we lose, how much teams are going to pass us? It would be nice to. Brighton are below us. Brighton are actually below us, and people are saying, "No, we're going to struggle against Brighton." Okay, it would be nice for the teams below us to start worrying about coming to Old Trafford. I mean, we haven't been bad at home this season. If you really check it, we haven't really been bad at home. I know I don't under, I'm not into GA, but from the eye test, we've been quite attacking. There's been little patterns of play, but our Achilles heel is away from home. Now, if we've just beaten Liverpool, the champions, away from home, surely that gives the team a level of confidence in regards to what their coach is now telling them, rightly or wrongly. Whatever Amarin's been telling them, they've been following. They've been playing to his tactics, and hopefully now, one for Amarin, whatever he did, we both we went into meltdown when the team came out. Me and Rebel, bloody hell, and I'm sure we weren't the only ones, but you have to trust in his judgment now. He's now got money in the bank, and I would like to think out of the next 4 games that we're not going to be picking up 2 points.
Yeah, look, I think we're talking about the Slot and his comments, and I just want to say it's refreshing. It's good because they follow people down the corridor at halftime. You're getting interviews these days. There's always something to be said, and if you're a good manager, you got to hold something back. But I found he's a bit it's not arrogance, but it's just refreshing from Slot. And I'm not disrespecting him. I'm saying this is a positive for him, that he talks quite clearly and gives us more insight into management. Because most managers in the past have been guarded. You try to get something like Fergie, he would just tell you to get out of the press conference, that sort of thing. But what he said, I remember a few weeks ago, Kirkes was running around the park and tackling everybody. He got booked, and he took him off. And he actually said, "I took him off because due to the crowd, he would probably got sent off." And I thought, that's refreshing from Slot. It gives you insight. That's why he took him off. He made it public. He also, I remember Slot last season, I think it was, maybe against us, where he revealed how we play. He actually, I think it was against us. He said, when Man United play like A, B, and C, and we all the fans were cussing us like, he's just identified exactly how you play your football and broke it down. I thought, well, yeah, most pundits do that. Most guys in the pub can tell you that, but he's actually good. And I've always said it's good when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, for example, never really taught tactics, I felt. And I think it's good that Benitez would. Rafa Benitez would. And I like that. And I've always think it's good that the manager will come out and say, all right, this is what we're doing. Like Pep would break it down. This is what we're doing. This is how we're playing. This is what we're going to counter and come up against and everything else. So this comment he's come out with about Cisco not playing, he's played previous games. And it's like they were expecting him to ready for him, and they were gearing up all week to come up against the Cisco, and they got bamboozled when the team sheet was named. And I remember Ruben Amorim before the game was asked about it. He said, "I don't want to reveal too much." He said, "But if we put Cisco against their big centre backs, it's just going to be a duel like that." He said, wasn't there some kind of, he worded it a bit like that. He said, "This is why I want to bring something different to the team. We got Mount, we got Cunha, and you got Mbeumo, and there'd be a lot more rotations and movement around." And like Mr. B was saying yesterday on the show about as a centre back, you need someone to pick up a mark, and they didn't have anyone. They just had to mark space at some point. So I don't think it's too much. I won't go in too much into this. It is an example, like Martin O'Neill said about Stoke and Leicester against Arsenal. That was said before, and could be seen as a bit of an excuse. But these managers talk as much as they want, and they have to be accountable for what comes out their mouth and any backlash that comes with it. And for me, there's no backlash. I just think it's good that managers are talking like that and revealing themselves and showing their hand a bit. It's better than being too guarded for us as fans.
Rio, I've got one to ask you. Andrew's got a comment here. We haven't put in a 90-minute performance in at home, but we've had some good halves. Can you see maybe a 90-minute performance coming in, within this, before the next international break? Can you see maybe, because he's right, we haven't really, a game where you come away and you think we battered them. you know, we deserve to win that. You know, maybe not a 4, maybe we don't score 4, but maybe a 3 where it's just a total domination.
So it's one thing you do need to remember is where we're at as a team. It is at the end of the day Premier League football, and you know, I even thought about the Sunderland game. First half we were really, really good, and then second half we kind of went a little bit flat. And that's Sunderland, and Sunderland are flying high at this moment in time. So every game's going to be a battle for us at this moment in time. It's about winning those duels. And that's what we did yesterday. We absolutely won the duels. We won the physical battle, I felt. And that's something that we've not seen from this team for a while. And yeah, you know, there's 11 that play on the field for us. And too many times we get too many poor performances. We get too many 5s or 6s out of 10s. And yesterday they showed, you know, if the majority of them play an 8 out of 10, 7 out of 10, the result will come. And there's enough quality on that pitch. And yeah, there was a joke about me doing a combined 11. And I did it based on form. And I put majority of Manchester United players in. Based off that, that was purely because I knew the quality of our players. And to a man, if they can perform and when they want to perform, they are quality players. Going back to manager comments, Ruben Amorim after the game, and this was really refreshing because too many times we've had performances and wins like this where the manager will come out and kind of pull the wool out of over everyone's eyes and say, yeah, we played brilliantly, this, that, and the other. Amorim came out and said, you know what, we were a bit lucky. We didn't play the way I wanted to play. We didn't play brilliantly. And so he's taken that victory away and actually picked out the bones, and already he's thinking about what needs to be improved. So hopefully we see a performance that we can work on going into for the Brighton game, where we can't play like that every single game. We can't have that expectation. We can't go like play like that Old Trafford. We need to improve. We need to put on a performance. But he needs to take out bits of yesterday and use it to reinforce his tactics, what he wants to do week in and week out. And hopefully what you said, Mr. B, it kind of hits home. These players now can trust that what he wants to do actually works if they put their heads together and just think about it. But yeah, ultimately, 2 back-to-back halves. Can we have a really good performance in both? I think we can, and hopefully we see that this weekend.
I want to throw 2 stats out to you, gentlemen. There was a comment about the long ball. Just to let you know that Liverpool attempted 47 long balls in the game yesterday. So a bit of pot calling the kettle black in that. And the other thing is, De Ligt has the most wins in defensive duels of any defender in the Premier League this year. So your thoughts on both those?
Case is rested. I like De Ligt. I've got a lot of time for De Ligt. You know, I'm pushing him to be our next captain. So whatever positive stats come out about him, the better. Question for you. Obviously, the formation has been our big issue. Amorim didn't try to play through midfield. They got Lamins to bypass it, and we won the second ball. Do you think he's going to continue with that style because it seemed to have worked, or do you think that he's gonna want, because to be fair, since Lamins has come in, I mean, to a certain extent, he was getting Onana to try, but Onana couldn't kick properly. And then obviously by in there, did one that went straight down Sesko's throat where he flicked it on for. So maybe the tactics are being altered. He's realized that he can't use the formation to play through the Premier League teams. Do you think that he's gonna continue in the longer ball, maybe, way of football?
He did do, I'm just going to say he did do that at Sporting. Like, he did incorporate a long ball kind of segment into the style of play. It's just been so long and it's been so deprived that we've not seen it. But yeah, Yabo, your thoughts on that, mate?
Yeah, I think when you look at our team, you've got to have an all-round game. To be a good team, you've got to be complete in all areas. So you'll be able to adapt to different situations. So whether in today's football, a lot of teams play out from the back, we are able to do that. We're set up, we're well drilled. We know how to be positioned to play out from the back. But if you want to hit the ball a long pass, I don't like to say long ball. If you want to hit a long pass, we have guys who I think are wide target. There's a term called wide target men, and our two guys, Mbemo and Cunha, are definitely wide target men because it sticks. Mbemo and Cunha don't look tall, but the balance they have and the strength, they can hold it up really well. And sometimes you see balls played up to them, control, calm. And we've had the frustration of -9, Mr. B's favorite player, struggling to contain the ball, so we weren't able to do that. So I'm not saying Onana can't kick. I'm saying who's he kicking to with why it doesn't stick. So because we all know Onana's fantastic at his spraying the ball around the park. He's brilliant. I'm sure there'll be stories in the future about how he used to hit trees like Paul Scholes used to do in training. But he is. I'm not just disrespecting Onana. He can spray the ball, but who's he spraying it to? If he's playing in this team, I've seen Mbemo even last season with Brentford, and balls played up to him. This guy's only short. No strength. Hold up, hold it, chest control, kill the ball dead, and play from there. And then obviously, when you see teams today, like you said about modern football, teams will sacrifice and try and press you and get, and you get 5, maybe 6 players pressing in your half, one ball over the top, and suddenly it's happening. Do you see what I'm saying? So you have to be open to more opportunities, more options. You can't just say we're playing one way, that's it. Whether it's instinct or whether you decide you're going to do it before the game and prepare for a certain team, when you've got the caliber of players that can do that, do both sides of it, whether it's playing out for the back or hitting long passes, then you become a more complete team. And I think that's what we're looking at right now with Man United.
Yeah, I suppose.
Sorry, go on, Rebel.
I was just going to say, I suppose, with the long ball and the way it's been played, obviously it's going to
long pass.
You can't continue to, because it'll become one-dimensional and teams will start kind of catching on to that. So you have to have alternative options in order to keep the defense guessing and give them different looks, because obviously you can kind of strategize if you play the same out ball the whole time. But before I ask my last question, over to you, Mr. B.
Yeah. Do we now understand why Bruno doesn't play 10 in our team? When you look at what our 2 10s are doing consistently now, well, you say 3 10s because Mount's there as well. Are we seeing why Bruno doesn't have the mobility of Mbeumo? Definitely doesn't have the strength of Cunha. And I'm not going to say he doesn't have the intelligence of Mount, but Mount is a very disciplined player in regards to what he does on the football pitch. Are we now seeing why? Forget that we're penciling him in. Forget that we're squeezing Bruno into the team for the minute. Can you see why he's not playing at a 10? Bro?
Yeah, absolutely. He's just the question is, can we get him into number 10? The question is he better than the other players that are available? No. In that role, he's not. Simply not. And then again, as you said with Mount, if you need someone in that role to do an instructional kind of game, he is, if someone said build me a player to do it in that role, Mason Mount is that guy. Even his name's quite simple, Mason Mount. Like, he fits the jigsaw puzzle perfectly for that kind of system. So yeah, I agree with you. That's why Bruno isn't the number 10 anymore.
Well, we brought in 2 number 10s, like for a lot of money, and the long-term goal and plan must be Bruno. He can no longer do that role. Let's drop you back and be the creative force from a midfield position, because the best Bruno, without his faults and still trying to learn the role as a 6 or 8, the best Bruno can play with his head up, link up the play, and start attacks and play good balls into feet. We talk about Casemiro plays direct long balls all the time, first time passes, boom, boom, boom. Doesn't always work out. But with Bruno's head up, composed, link up the play, a bit like Kobe Mainu can do. And so the 2 6s would be one strong interceptor and one guy who can get on the ball and play and bring these other guys into play and play through the line passes into these guys to set up attacks. And then you can imagine him, if we're dominating games in the opposition's half, there's really toughest thing to do is to control the ball or have many touches in the opposition half. But we can get to a period where we can do that. You can, like we saw with Paris Saint-Germain, who were fantastic last season. You had Vitinho and João Pedro. What's his name?
Neves.
Who?
João Neves.
Neves, sorry, yeah, João Neves and the Spanish guy as well. But when they were dominating and they had the wingers pushing on and everything, those two were just sitting in the middle of the park when they were in the opposition's half and just dictating the play. Boof, turnover, just there and creative forces. So I think Bruno should look at these two guys who, could they work in the Premiership? Vitinho was at Wolves and we didn't even know he was at Wolves because he didn't even play, because he couldn't adapt to the style of play here. But you look at him on the world stage, I thought he was the Ballon d'Or winner for me last season, the way he dominated games and dictated the tempo of that great team they played for. So Bruno should look at that and say, I can play that role. It's not impossible to do that, but I just need to be a bit more disciplined with what I do. And now we're looking at him and saying, because Bruno used to carry all the weight of Man United on his shoulders, think I have to do everything. Now he can look at it and say, actually, I've got guys ahead of me who can do it for us, and I can slow down my game and just keep feeding them and start and be like Eric Cantona, who used to do that when he used to get an assist and say an assist is just as good as a goal and put his collars up. That's how I'd like to see Bruno playing.
I want to ask you a question.
I'm going to say, just jumping on that, sorry. Bruno did say in an interview very recently, he said, the aim is for me to play in the role that he's been playing, and then when we progressively have the ball and we have more possession, when the system and the team improves, he or Kobe Mainoo should have the opportunity to then get into those 10 roles because they've got constant pressure, constant possession. So the idea is there, and hopefully he can do it over time, but we just need to be more dominant and win those second balls, sustain pressure, constant attacks. But we'll see that over time, hopefully.
I want to ask you the question of what we deserve better start to saying there, that Bruno and Case were basically both gassed at 50 minutes.
Well, Cass was.
You think it's because there's only two of them in there? Because Bruno was blowing out of his backside in the second half, and I don't know who it was in the chat said that he was giving the ball away the whole of the second half.
He didn't need to be, though. That's the thing. That came down to discipline. There was times where he was. The game went from him, and he kept going back into the number 10 positions trying to win the ball, and he just didn't need to. It was like there was a point where I shouted at my screen, and I was like, "Stop going through it!" Like when we've turned the game into a basketball game, and it didn't need to be like that. And that's how they ended up gassing ultimately. It comes down to discipline. I don't want to convince myself and say Bruno can play in the number 8, but I saw enough in him to be able to do the role. It's just discipline, composure, and he wants to create. He wants to create. You can see it in him, but I think over time it will happen. I think it might click. Hopefully, I'm praying.
He's also saying that at the same time, even though he looked like he was out on his feet, that he was glad he was on the pitch because nobody else would have done that one-touch assist.
Again, even that was Slot going to call that a long ball. Sometimes you just have to get things back into the mixer. You know what I mean? The ball was just it was aimed. To be fair, there was 3 players unmarked where Bruno hit that pass, because if you look, who were Dorgu was behind him, and there was somebody else.
Yeah,
Maguire was just saying, just get out the way, I'm taking
the second phase of the corner, wasn't it? We've tried to play the corner, tried to get shot through Mbemo, and then Liverpool have to reshuffle, and suddenly the ball's coming back into them. So they were really unfortunate that, it was a perfect ball right on the best person who no one else you'd really want on the end of that apart from Shesko, sorry. And Harry Maguire was there to finish the dinner, So it was a great goal, but that just shows you once again about getting balls into the mix. And I think this is another reason why I think buying a player like Xisco, we talked about earlier about our options and what we can do playing out or playing a longer pass, or there's so many different options to our team now, so many different facets. So we can play crosses in. I think Rio yesterday was really endorsing Dorgu, saying his crossing is improving. Good timing, because we've got someone we can cross it to now, whereas in the past we didn't really have that guy apart from when Zlatan was there. So we had that threat there again. So it's all about having different arsenal to hurt a team, whether it's Acuna on the ball. Look at Acuna and Bremo, very different players, and Bremo's sort of guy would run, like he did off the ball and get into positions and run beyond defenders to get in positions like he did to score a goal. And then you got a guy who pick up the ball like Bremo, and you have to deal with his attributes, which is strength. And look how many times, I've seen some footage, highlights of him, what he did keeping the ball when we really need someone to keep hold of the ball. It's amazing what he can do, So they're two different players, but they're two different facets to the play, which can really help us as a team when we know their strengths and weaknesses. And that going forward, I just think we've got so much ammunition now and so much thing. Just going back to like traditional number 10s, we grew up on number 10s being Maradona, Platini, Del Piero, Totti, playmakers who everything comes through them. In the Premiership today, you're seeing Eze. He's effective. He's big and strong, and he can carry the ball. You're seeing now with our two guys, and Bremo and Cunha, big and strong guys, physical, with a bit of talent as well. Who can do a little something in the final third. So it's like that. The days of that number 10 Verts player, Liverpool bought, who's everything comes through them. They're getting munched out here like Pac-Man, because the Premiership is just too physical, too much for them. So I'm really pleased to see that we've bought the right clientele, the right identity of player to suit this league.
It's actually interesting. Since Air Sesco arrived, it seems like Harry Maguire's leap has increased by about a foot or two, doesn't it?
Maybe training. Imagine the training sessions.
Rather than looking at each other, the bunny hopping. I can jump higher. I can jump higher. No, I can jump higher. Just holding shoulders.
I got another one for you. Was yesterday Ahmad's best game for us this season?
Oh, this season, yeah. Yeah.
So far.
And the yellow card is bullshit, by the way.
Yeah, that was a joke, really, wasn't it? The yellow card. Sometimes I know people get booked for follow through with your studs up, and the intention of everyone who's played football, if you intended to hurt that guy, and he wasn't. He just said, right, we're against it right now. I'm going to make a really good tackle and pinch the ball, and get the fans up and give us a bit of relief here, because that's what was needed at the time. He'd done it brilliantly, and to get a booking, he was just like saying to the ref like that. I like his attitude, because he wasn't like F you. He was just like he's like laughing and saying, "What, are you serious?" And in hindsight, since then, even Liverpool fans would say that you can't, once you take that out of the game, everyone's in trouble. You can't even go to ground. It's ridiculous. So yeah, well done to Ahmad. And I do think, by the way, that was his best game, considering, as we discussed it yesterday, playing in that position, which is alien to him, but he's doing a good job, and he performed against a really hot Gakpo, and had him on lock and chain.
You know how I had my doubts about him all season? I was waiting for a game. I was waiting for a performance. Yesterday, that was it for me. So you'll get no more Ahmad slander from me going forward until he does a bad pass against Brighton, and then
So the Ahmad slander stops. The Maguire slander stops for a bit. Dallo.
No. Oh.
He's fallen off a cliff. Even yesterday, in a game that we won, where everybody played, I would like to give everybody above average marks. He still stacked the place out, my opinion. Do we have a problem with Dallo?
Yes. My opinion anyway is that I absolutely hate when he plays on the opposite side that he should. He is just like, as limited as he is, he's way more limited on the wrong side. He just does not have it in him to play that side of the back line. It just shouldn't be happening. So for me, we have very much an issue where he's the only coverage on the left. It just needs to stop. He should never, ever, ever, ever play there unless we're out of subs and you're trying to cover a wing. But it just
was that a lack of trust to Dorgu? Because that
and then you see what Dorgu did.
I thought that was a lack of trust to Dorgu, which annoyed me. And then, as you say, yeah, Dorgu comes on and was brilliant, but would he have been brilliant from the start? That's the thing. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. He clearly trusts Dallo. He's part of that group of trust, isn't he?
Yeah, he's part of his yeah.
You know, it really annoys me. Like, I haven't got an issue with Dallo. And a couple of times in the game yesterday where he got the ball high up the pitch and his first touch was poor and he's got that same move, step over push. You know, I mean, you can read him like a book. I'd love to play against him. Yeah, do it. Go on, do it. I'm ready for you, you know. Everyone's ready for him because in the final third, in that position, you want someone who's going to beat a man, get crosses in, get assists. And we rarely see that from Dallo, even when he's playing right back, that kind of thing. Amarin's biggest problem is he goes for experience over talent. No, I don't think that's a problem. I think that's let's just say this. Let's just say I'm going to put it to you. I'm not a Dallo lover, but I can see why he plays, and I'm happy he's on the team sheet. All right. Now, my thing, I've seen he was shit, he was shy, all this thing. Explain. If you get like, there's no point saying this. I hate when fans would say, "Oh, he's crap, he's rubbish." He's better than me. He's better than you. He's better than He's better than all these guys in the comments. Why are you sitting there on your sofa and saying he's shit? Give me some justification why he's shit, and then I can reason with you.
Me? I'll tell you.
Not you, sir. I know you're sitting on your sofa. I'm not talking to you, but I'm saying generally.
I might get you to withhold your debating for Wednesday night, lads, because obviously the Coliseum is going to be back with episode 2 this Wednesday, so you might forget this. But I want to take us back to something serious, and because it's been a bone of contention in the media all day since it happened, and that is the head injury that was in the run-up. Ultimately, the playing Virgil van Dijk took out his own player, and strictly by the letter of the law, if there's a suspected head injury, then the game should be stopped. Now, Oliver claims he didn't see it, and it looks like from some of the still frames, he couldn't have not seen it because he was looking directly at McAllister on the ground. But in the circumstances and in the year where we're seeing a lot of simulation and players looking to maybe stay down to stop play, do you think that the real reason maybe Oliver didn't give it is because he's kind of gone, well, that was his own player. He's not hurt. He's staying down to try and frustrate United's attack.
Well, I do think that McAllister probably didn't know it was Van Dijk that elbowed him, but he didn't stay down like, if he had stayed down like a plank, boom, hit the floor, then fine, fair enough. It could be serious. But he carried on with a what's his name? A shower, with a shower cap on his head. So they're searching for anything. It wasn't a foul because it wasn't our player. If Mbeumo had done it, then maybe there could be an argument. But you don't get fouled by your own player.
Who played the ball? Who played the ball out wide? Because was it Bruno that played it out wide to Ahmad? Because whoever it was, they kicked it over McAllister to carry on. I loved it. I thought brilliant. Like just carry on. They kicked it over him.
I don't know.
It might have been Mount, maybe. I love that.
Sure.
It's they're clutching. They're clutching.
So what's the rules saying? If there's a head injury, you stop.
No, it should have been stopped. Yeah,
it shouldn't. No, it shouldn't.
It should have.
No, Rio.
No. We're just on the receiving end. I'm happy that it wasn't stopped, but it should have been stopped.
Why should it have been stopped?
But then in the second half again,
because it's a head injury. That's why.
He was consistent though, because in the second half, somebody else went down, and he looked to see if it was a head injury, and it was one of our players. And he was down and play carried on. All right, it was our advantage, but he still carried on playing. So I don't see what the issue is. I honestly,
I think
it was his own player that hit him.
Yeah, I'm with you, Mr. B. I think like he stayed down too long. Now, when I look at the injury, he got a bump to the head, an elbow in the back of his head from a big unit of a man who's Van Dijk. Now, I'm not saying it didn't hurt that much, but to go and put that stupid cap on, that's just a demonstration. Say that's my process. To say, referee, you got it wrong because I've got to have him to wear this cap now. And that he didn't need a cap for a bump in the head. What's the cap going to do? Has he got concussion? No, do you see what I'm saying? Those cap. Remember, Peter Cech got his.
It's a concussion cap. That's what
he had to wear a cap forever after that to protect himself. So unless
McAllister will wear it next game
every week now, if he doesn't wear that stupid cap, then he's capping. You know what I'm saying? That to me was a bit of a play acting to say, look, this is drama. It's like WWE getting the fake blood, and hitting the blood thing, and oh look, he's cut me, and everyone's like, oh my god, he's cut. That to me was fake. And him staying down that long, he didn't know it was Van Dijk in the back of him. He thought it was just a foul. That's why he stayed down and say, let me run this play. Yeah, you go and score because VAR will take it back because I was fouled by one of your players, not knowing that it was his player. That's why he stayed down. So this is the psychological war games that goes on with players trying to manipulate rules in their favor. A bit like diving, a bit like assimilating stuff. This is what they do. And unfortunately for McAllister, who's a really good player, by the way, I really rate him, he was victim of his own foolishness yesterday, in my opinion.
Well,
and damn right it stood. Then it should have stood. And it's the right decision. And unless I know the rule, unless I'm getting something wrong with the ruling, I think that is definitely the right decision.
Well, Buck, I think the consensus is that big girls blouse, man up. How do you actually know that it's a head injury? There's a whole pile of good, valid points in the chat. And I'd imagine if it was Liverpool that scored that goal, it was Mo Salah that got the breakaway goal to go 1-0 up, we would be told to shut the F up and pipe down and know our place by Liverpool fans. So, as they say, swings and roundabouts. But I think we have been going for about 40 minutes. It has been a joyous occasion. I do want to remind you that there's still one jersey in the offing for when we reach the 4K subs. This is 100% free to do so on the Man United agenda. So please do like, share, and subscribe. We do appreciate it. But we will have a special guest back tomorrow, so make sure you tune in. There is Champions League, so keep an eye on what time the show goes live. So get that notification bell working so that you do know when we do go live. And again, obviously, same with Wednesday and the debate show. And of course, if for any reason we do pre-record anything, we will let you know in the chat whether it's live or not. It's unlikely that we won't not be live, but just in the event that anything is kind of going wrong for us, we will let you know if it's a video rather than a live.
Yeah, it's funny when the last time we did a record and Titanium was talking in the chat for a little while. He said nobody's answering. I wonder if this is the one. Now you're saying it. Yeah, I think we need to let them know it's a record. Just watch and comment at the end. You know what I mean?
We might ask this one tomorrow.
So. Can I just? I thought it was just me, because even my son said he's not even doing no pressing. You think? Did he play 290 minutes for? I mean, look, we stayed 290 minutes. Bloody, what's his name did as well, Casemiro, and he was playing in Japan, so we probably can't really use that as a bloody excuse. You know what I mean?
It might have been an instruction, though, to be fair, to keep shape instead of just running all the way around.
Yeah.
We might ask our special guest about this tomorrow, because I think it is an interesting question, and Ria does raise an interesting counter argument as to whether or not it was by design or by lack of will. But for tonight, we have been the Man United agenda.
Hold on. You guys are not getting off this easy, all right? Let's just lay this one down. I have to say it. First of all, guys in the comments, you've seen the great intro we have. Do we need to go to column and add to our George Best goal, the Rooney goal?